Programs on All India Radio about the challenged persons, their rights, their achievements motivated a man to start an organization named Amar Seva Sangam.
Namaskar. I am Ramakrishnan. I hail from Ayakudi near the famous Kuttaram Falls. When I was doing my fourth year engineering, I went for naval officer selection.
Born in an agricultural family, Mr. Ramakrishnan was all set to join the Navy after completing his bachelor's in mechanical engineering. But perhaps God had set far greater plans for this young man. During his fourth year, he fell down and sustained fracture dislocation of his cervical spine. With series of ineffective treatments, eventually Mr. Ramakrishnan had to accept the wheelchair life for the rest of his life. But rather than drowning into the darkness, the setback motivated this young man to look at life from a different perspective.
Normally, that kind of accident would have completely demoralized the individual and made him or her useless for the rest of life, all the time thinking about what the problem was. Ramakrishnan thought every calamity is an opportunity, and his own personal difficulty, he converted them into an opportunity for training a large number of people in terms of new skills, new scope, how to overcome their deficiency.
The year 1981, it was declared as the International Year of the Disabled by the United Nations. And I also found many polio children roaming in the village. So I discussed with the doctors regarding this. And in 1981, in the name of my doctor, Air Marshal Amarjit Singh Chahal, we started this institution, Amar Seva Sangam.
Starting with Siva Saraswati Vidyalaya, a kindergarten school only with 5 kids and a teacher, Amar Seva Sangam gradually started growing with support from friends and family and through word of mouth. Orchestrating various other activities like organizing awareness camps on family planning, polio eradication, measles, immunization, etc. Enabling access to education, skill development for the physically challenged in the region were an ambitious dream for a man like Mr. Ramakrishnan, who himself needed support to carry out his day-to-day activities. But his physical challenges could not deter him. He was determined to live to serve. Words had spread via TV channels, magazines and newspapers, and Mr. Ramakrishnan started several schemes, traveling places to meet people for mobilizing more funds to expand his organization. Mr. Ramakrishnan cannot thank enough for the immense support he received during his initial days of struggle for fundraising, be it Ramachandran, the taxi driver of Chennai, or the famous author and activist Shiva Shankari, or Sulochana Srinivasan of Mumbai, who went to great lengths to raise funds to buy a land for Amar Seva Sangam. The list is endless. However, he admits the greatest pillars for his achievements are undoubtedly his parents and siblings, who always stood beside him, supporting unconditionally against his every decision. In 1994, he tied knot with Mrs. Lakshmi, who has been an important part of his personal life, bringing solidarity for the cause of disabled to lead family life. However, meeting Mr. Shankara Raman in 1991 and his decision to join Amar Seva Sangam was a major turning point for Mr. Ramakrishnan.
He had visions and dreams for creating a valley for the disabled people, which was a concept which amazed me a lot.
In spite of being wheelchair user due to muscular dystrophy, Mr. Raman's visionary quality along with his organizational skills took Amar Seva Sangam to phenomenal heights. Together, Mr. Ramakrishnan and Mr. Raman created the Valley for the Disabled in the region, fighting all odds. Today, Amar Seva Sangam has an impressive array of work that it does in the field of disability management. Lined up with extraordinary initiatives, the organization is currently spread over a 30-acre land with home for physically challenged children with free shelter, food, education, clothing, barrier-free environment, Sangamam School for Special Children, vocational and distant learning centers for the specially challenged youths, Orthotics Center for manufacturing and repairing of mobility aiding appliances, spinal cord injured post-acute care center, early intervention center for the infants for rehabilitation. The team has also devised various village-based initiatives for the rehabilitation of the disabled by creating grassroots level institutions known as self-help groups involving the differently abled communities itself. This would have never been possible without Mr. Ramakrishnan's endeavor.
ஒரு 27 வருஷமா சர்வீஸ் பண்ணிக்கிட்டு இருக்கேன் சார். இந்த ஏரியா மக்களுக்கெல்லாம் நல்லா உதவி பண்ணி எல்லாம் செஞ்சுக்கிட்டு இருக்காங்க. இதை வச்சு 500 குடும்பம் 1000 குடும்பம் நல்லா பிழைச்சிக்கிட்டு இருக்காங்க.
मेरे जैसे हजारों लोगों को एक सहारा और उम्मीद दे रहे हैं.
ராமகிருஷ்ணன் சார் மாற்றுத்திறனாளிகளுக்கு கடவுள் மாதிரி.
His simple approach and commitment has helped the organization to benefit large number of beneficiaries over the past 30 years.
He has been doing wonders. I was moved. He is a man on wheels, but he is moving people. And I'm one of those people who have been moved by his action.
Mr. Ramakrishnan's ability to create a big network of people and personalities is possible because of his compassionate approach for the various activities.
The fantastic work of Mr. Ramakrishnan has not gone unnoticed. He has been appreciated with numerous awards from time to time, honored as a human wonder, recognized with the Unstoppable Indian Award and many other accolades. A hero who has transformed thousands of lives, who still stays humble, silently moving ahead.
We have full faith in God. God has been guiding us in the right path all the time.
They see my disability, I see my ability. They call me disabled, I call myself differently abled. There are some incidents that happen in your life. Those incidents break you, deform you, but they mold you into the best version of you. And the same thing happened to me. I was 18 years old when I got married. My father wanted me to get married. And all I said was, if that makes you happy, I'll say yes. And of course, it was never a happy marriage. Just about after 2 years of getting married, I met a car accident. Somehow my husband fell asleep and the car fell in the ditch. He managed to jump out, saved himself. I'm happy for him. But I stayed inside the car and I sustained a lot of injuries. The list is a bit long, don't get scared. The wrist was fractured. Shoulder bone and collarbone were fractured. My whole rib cage got fractured. And because of the rib cage injury, lungs and liver were badly injured. I couldn't breathe. I lost urinary bowel control. That's why I have to wear the bag wherever I go. 3 vertebrae of my backbone were completely crushed. And I got paralyzed for the rest of my life. I finally ended up in a hospital where I stayed for 2.5 months. I underwent multiple surgeries. One day, doctor came to me and he said, well, I heard that you wanted to be an artist, but you ended up being a housewife. I have a bad news for you. You won't be able to paint again because your wrist and your arm are so deformed, you won't be able to hold a pen again. Next day, doctor came to me and said, your spine injury is so bad, you won't be able to walk again. Because of your spine injury and the fixation that you have in your back, you won't be able to give birth to a child again. That day, I was devastated. I asked my mother, Why me? And that is where I started to question my existence. Why am I even alive? And that is where I realized that the words have the power to heal the soul. My mother said to me, "This too shall pass. God has a greater plan for you. I don't know what it is, but He surely has." And in all that distress and grief, somehow or the other, those words were so magical that they kept me going. One day I asked my brothers, "I know I have a deformed hand, but I'm tired of looking at these white walls in the hospital and wearing these white scrubs. I'm getting tired of this. I want to add more colors to my life. I want to do something. Bring me some colors. Bring me some small canvas. I want to paint." So the very first painting I made was on my deathbed, where I painted for the very first time. It was not just an art piece or just my passion. It was my therapy. And then I was discharged and I went back home. And I went back home and I realized that I have developed a lot of pressure ulcers on my back and on my hip bone. I was unable to sit. There were a lot of infections in my body, a lot of allergies. So doctors wanted me to lie down on the bed straight for not 6 months, for not 1 year, for 2 years. I was bedridden, confined in that one room, looking outside the window, listening to the birds chirping, and thinking maybe there will be a time when we'll be going out with the family and enjoying the nature. That was the time where I realized how lucky people are. That is the time where I realized that the day I'm going to sit, I'm going to share this pain with everyone to make them realize how blessed they are, and they don't even consider them lucky. That day I decided that I'm going to fight my fears. We all have fears. Fear of unknown, fear of losing people, fear of losing health, money. We want to excel in career, we want to become famous, we want to get money. We are scared all the time. So I wrote down one by one all those fears, and I decided that I'm going to overcome these fears one at a time. You know what was my biggest fear? Divorce. I was trying to cling on to this person who didn't want me anymore, but I said no. I have to make it work. But the day I decided that this is nothing but my fear, I liberated myself by setting him free. And I made myself emotionally so strong that the day I got the news that he's getting married, I sent him a text that I'm so happy for you and I wish you all the best. And he knows that I pray for him today. Number 2 was, I won't be able to be a mother again. And that was quite devastating for me. But then I realized there are so many children in the world, all they want is acceptance. So there is no point of crying, just go and adopt one. And that's what I did. People think that they will not be accepted by the people because we, in the world of perfect people, are imperfects. So I decided that instead of starting an NGO for disability awareness, which I know will not help anyone, I started to appear more in public. I started to paint. I decided that I'm going to join the national TV of Pakistan as an anchor person. And I've been doing a lot of shows for the last 3 years. I became the National Goodwill Ambassador for UN Women Pakistan, and now I speak for the rights of women, children. We talk about inclusion, diversity, gender equality, which is a must. Every time I go in public, I always smile. It's always a big toothy smile on my face, and people ask me, don't you get tired of smiling all the time? What's the secret? I always say one thing, that I have stopped worrying about the things that I have lost, the people that I have lost. Things and people who were meant to be with me are with me. And sometimes, somebody's absence makes you a better person. Cherish their absence. It's always a blessing in disguise. Live your life fully. Accept yourself the way you are. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. I'll repeat, be kind to yourself, and only then you can be kind to others. Love yourself and spread that love. Life will be hard. There will be turmoils. There will be trials, but that will only make you stronger. So when you accept yourself the way you are, the world recognizes you. It all starts from within.